I joined the Coast Guard to save lives. That's what they tell you in recruitment. That's what they show you in the videos. Brave men and women rescuing people from sinking boats, pulling swimmers from riptides, saving lives on the open ocean. Noble work, important work, the kind of work that makes your family proud. They don't tell you about the rules until your first night shift. I reported to Station 47 on the Northern California coast on a Monday in late October. The station sat on a rocky peninsula overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Cold grey water stretching to the horizon, waves crashing against black rocks. The kind of place that feels isolated, even though civilization is only 20 miles away. My commanding officer was a man named Captain Robert Hayes, 56 years old, with weathered skin and the distant look of someone who'd spent too much time staring at the ocean. He took me into his office and closed the door before I'd even put my bag down. Before you start watch duty, there are protocols you need to understand. He pulled a folder from his desk drawer. Inside was a single laminated card with typed instructions. Protocols for Coast Guard personnel. Station 47. Rule 1. Never conduct rescue operations alone after dark. Always maintain visual contact with your partner. Rule 2. If you receive a distress call with no coordinates, no vessel name, and no voice, do not respond. Log it as equipment malfunction. Rule 3. Dead marine life found on the beach in perfect circles is to be photographed and reported to NOAA immediately. Do not touch. Rule 4. If your radar shows a vessel that disappears when you look directly at the screen, turn off the radar for 10 minutes before restarting. Rule 5. Never anchor in water deeper than 200 feet after sunset. And then I saw Rule 6, written in red ink at the bottom of the card. Rule 6. If you see lights underwater, do not look at them. Do not investigate their source. Turn your vessel around immediately and return to station. Do not discuss what you saw with anyone except Captain Hayes. I looked up at him. Sir, what kind of lights? His expression was grave. Bioluminescence is common in these waters. Algae, jellyfish, natural phenomena that can create light. Shows under the surface, but the lights covered by Rule 6 are different. They're organized, symmetrical. They pulse in patterns that feel intentional. Has anyone investigated them? His jaw tightened. 4 times since this station opened in 1978. 4 Coast Guard members looked at the lights for extended periods. 3 of them are dead. 1 of them is in a psychiatric facility and hasn't spoken in 11 years. What did they see? That's the question no one can answer, because the one who survived won't tell us. He just sits in his room at the facility, staring at the wall, occasionally drawing the same symbol over and over. A spiral within a spiral within a spiral, like something infinite trying to fold in on itself. I started my first night watch 3 days later. My partner was Petty Officer Sarah Kim. She was 32 years old, with 7 years at Station 47. We took the patrol boat out at 2100 hours. Our route covered 12 nautical miles of coastline, standard surveillance, looking for vessels in distress, checking on reported hazards, basic Coast Guard work. The ocean was calm that night, almost too calm. Like glass reflecting the stars above. No wind, no waves, just flat black water, stretching in every direction. Sarah handled the controls while I monitored the radio and radar. At 23:30 hours, we received a distress call. Vessel taking on water. 3 people on board. Coordinates provided. 6 nautical miles from our position. We responded immediately, full throttle toward the location. But when we arrived, there was nothing. No boat, no people, no debris. Just empty ocean. Sarah checked the coordinates again. This is definitely the location, but there's nothing here. I scanned the water with our spotlight. That's when I saw them. Lights, deep underwater, maybe 50 feet down. They were blue, bright, electric blue, and they were arranged in a perfect circle. 12 lights evenly spaced, pulsing in sequence, one after another, around and around, like something was calling, like something was signaling. Do you see that? I pointed at the water. Sarah grabbed my arm. Don't look at them. Turn off the spotlight. Now. But someone might be down there. A sunken vessel. Survivors. In the water. That's not a sunken vessel. That's not survivors. She spun the wheel. Started turning us around. That's what Rule 6 is about. Those are the lights. And we don't look at them. We don't investigate. We leave immediately. The lights pulsed faster. The pattern changed. Now they were all blinking in unison. On and off. On and off. And even with the spotlight off, even turning away, I could still see them, glowing through the dark water, calling. Sarah radioed the station. Captain Arlies, this is Patrol 7. We've encountered the phenomenon at coordinates 37 north, 123 west, returning to base. Copy that, Patrol 7. Do not engage. Return immediately. But I couldn't stop looking. The lights were mesmerizing, beautiful in a way that made my chest ache. They were moving now, rising slowly through the water, getting closer to the surface, getting brighter, and I could see something else. Shapes between the lights, large shapes, moving in that same circular pattern, swimming, or floating, or hovering. I couldn't tell which. Sarah shook me. Stop looking. You need to stop looking right now. But I saw it. Just for a moment, before she pulled my face away, I saw what was making the lights, and it wasn't bioluminescence. It wasn't natural phenomena. It wasn't anything that should exist in our ocean or any ocean. It was a structure, massive, made of something that looked like metal, but moved like flesh, covered in those blue lights, and at the center was an opening, a mouth or a door, or something worse, something that spiraled inward, layer upon layer upon layer, going down forever, going down to places that shouldn't exist, beneath the ocean, going down to somewhere else, entirely. We made it back to the station. Sarah practically dragged me off the boat. Captain Hayes was waiting on the dock. His face was pale. How long did he look? Maybe 30 seconds, maybe less. Hayes grabbed my face, looked into my eyes, checked my pupils. Tell me exactly what you saw. I couldn't form words. My mouth moved, but nothing came out, because I was still seeing it, even with my eyes closed, even on dry land. I could still see that spiral, that infinite descent, that opening that led somewhere beneath our reality. Get him to medical, Hayes. Turn to Sarah, and file the incident report. Mark it classified. No details, just location and time. They kept me in the medical bay for 3 days. Doctors ran tests. Psychiatrists asked questions, but I couldn't tell them what I'd seen. Every time I tried to describe it, the words wouldn't come. Like my brain refused to process the memory. Like understanding what I'd witnessed would break something fundamental in my mind. Captain Hayes visited on the 3rd day. He sat beside my bed and pulled out a file. Inside were medical records, incident reports, photographs. I need you to understand something. You're not the first person to see the lights. You're not even the 10th, but you might be one of the lucky ones, because you only looked for 30 seconds. What happens if you look longer? He showed me a photograph, a Coast Guard member, young, maybe 25, sitting in a hospital bed. His eyes were wrong. The pupils were too dilated, taking up almost the entire iris. And his hands were drawing something on paper. That same spiral, over and over. This is Petty Officer James Martinez. He looked at the lights for 5 minutes, couldn't pull his eyes away. When we finally got him back to shore, he was catatonic. He's been in a psychiatric facility for 11 years. This is what he draws, every day, hundreds of times. The same spiral, like he's trying to map what he saw. What did he see? Hayes pulled out another photograph. This one showed a wall, covered floor to ceiling in drawings. All spirals, all identical, thousands of them. He saw what's down there, what's beneath the lights, what that structure leads to. And his mind is still trying to process it, still trying to understand something that human brains aren't designed to comprehend. What is it? What's down there? That's the question Noah has been trying to answer since 1978. They've sent submersibles, remote cameras, sonar equipment. Every piece of technology fails at 200 feet. Cameras show static. Sonar returns impossible readings. Equipment malfunctions or disappears entirely. All we know is that something is down there, something old, something that doesn't belong in our ocean. And the lights are how it communicates, how it calls. Calls what? Hayes closed the file. People, marine life, anything that looks long enough, anything that sees the pattern and tries to understand it. Because understanding is the trap. The moment you truly see what those lights are showing you, the moment you comprehend what that spiral represents, your mind breaks. You become like Martinez, trapped, trying to process infinity, trying to map something that can't be mapped. They cleared me for duty 2 weeks later, but I was different. I knew I was different. I could feel it in the way I looked at the ocean now, the way I monitored the radar, the way I tensed every time we went out on night patrol, because I knew what was down there. I'd seen it. And even though I couldn't fully remember what I'd witnessed, even though my brain had protected itself by erasing the details, I knew. I worked Station 47 for 8 more months, conducted dozens of night patrols, responded to real distress calls, saved actual lives, did my job. But every night, I watched the water, waited for those lights to appear again, and every night, I was grateful when they didn't. Then came June 14th. I was on patrol with a new officer, a kid named Danny Peterson, 23 years old, fresh from training, eager and confident, and completely unprepared for what this station really was. I'd tried to explain the rules, tried to make him understand that some protocols existed for reasons we couldn't discuss, but he thought I was hazing him, thought the rules were just stories to scare rookies. At 0200 hours, we got a distress call, fishing vessel taking on water, for crew members. Coordinates 8 nautical miles out. We responded, full speed, to the location. And when we arrived, the lights were there, deep underwater. That same electric blue, that same perfect circle, pulsing in sequence. Calling. Danny saw them immediately. Holy shit, what is that? Bioluminescence. Turn the boat around. I grabbed the controls. We're leaving now, but there might be survivors down there. That fishing vessel could have sunk. We need to investigate. No, we don't. This is rule 6. We turn around. We go back to station. We do not look at those lights. But Danny was already leaning over the rail, staring down into the water, his face illuminated by that blue glow, and I saw his expression change. Saw the moment he stopped seeing lights, and started seeing what was beneath them. Started seeing the structure, the spiral, the opening. His mouth fell open, his eyes went wide, and he whispered one word. Beautiful. I tried to pull him back, tried to cover his eyes, but he was stronger, younger, and he was transfixed. He stared at those lights for 2 minutes, maybe 3, and when I finally got him away from the rail, when I finally broke his line of sight, he wasn't Danny anymore. He looked at me with those 2 wide pupils, and he smiled. That same smile from Martinez's photographs, that same knowing expression. I understand now. His voice was distant, hollow. I saw what's down there. I saw where the spiral goes, and it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's everything. I radioed for emergency extraction. Got Danny back to station. Got him to medical. But we all knew. It was too late. He'd looked too long. He'd seen too much. He'd understood. They transferred him to the same facility as Martinez, 3 days later. Last I heard, he's sitting in a room next to the original patient. Both of them drawing spirals. Both of them trying to map infinity. Both of them broken by beauty, by truth, by something beneath the ocean that human minds can't process. I quit the Coast Guard that week, moved inland, got a job at a hardware store in Nevada, somewhere without ocean, somewhere without water deep enough to hide things that shouldn't exist, somewhere I could pretend the world made sense, but I still see it sometimes when I close my eyes. When I let my guard down, I see those lights, that perfect blue circle, and beneath them, I see the spiral, that infinite descent, that opening to somewhere else, somewhere beneath our reality, somewhere that calls. Captain Hayes calls me. Every few months, updates I don't want but can't refuse. The lights appear more frequently now, once a week, sometimes more. Different locations, different patterns. Like whatever is down there is getting stronger, more active, more hungry, and we keep losing people. Coast Guard members who look too long, fishermen who see the lights and can't look away, divers who go down to investigate and come back changed. All of them drawing spirals, all of them trying to understand what they saw, all of them broken. Last week, Hayes called with news that made my hands shake. We found something on the ocean floor. A research vessel was mapping the seafloor near where you saw the lights. Their sonar picked up something impossible. A structure, massive, miles across, and it's not staying in one place. It's moving, slowly, but moving, heading toward shore. How long? Hard to say. Could be years, could be months. But whatever is down there, whatever makes those lights, it's coming closer. And when it reaches shallow water, when it gets close enough to shore that anyone can see it, that anyone can look at it. He didn't finish, didn't need to. We both knew what would happen. Everyone who saw it, everyone who looked at those lights, everyone who tried to understand that spiral, they'd all break. They'd all spend the rest of their lives drawing patterns, trying to map infinity, trying to comprehend something that exists beyond human understanding. I moved further inland after that call, Montana now, as far from the ocean as I can get in the continental United States. But distance doesn't help, because I still see it. Every night when I try to sleep, I see those lights, that blue glow, that perfect circle, and I see the spiral, always the spiral, pulling me down, pulling me in, showing me layers upon layers upon layers of reality, folded into spaces that shouldn't exist, showing me that the ocean floor isn't the floor at all, that there are depths beneath the depths, spaces within spaces, realities within realities, and something lives there, something old, something vast, something that communicates through light, because that's all we can understand, that's all our primitive brains can process. But the lights aren't the message. The lights are just the envelope. The real message is what happens when you look, when you see, when you understand. Last night, I had the dream again. The one I've had every night since I looked at the lights. I'm in the patrol boat, alone. The ocean is calm. And beneath me, I see them. Those blue lights, that perfect circle. But in the dream, I don't turn away. I don't follow protocol. I lean over the rail. I look down into the water, and I see the spiral. And this time, I understand. I see where it goes. I see what's at the bottom. I see what's been calling through those lights since before humans learned to build boats. Since before we understood what oceans were. Since before we existed. And when I wake up, I find myself drawing, on paper, on walls, on any surface I can find. I draw spirals, perfect spirals, layer within layer within layer, because part of me is still there. Part of me is still looking at those lights. Part of me is still trying to understand what I saw, and I know what's happening. I know I'm becoming like Martinez, like Danny, like all the others who looked too long, who saw too much, who understood. The spiral is infinite. The spiral is eternal. The spiral is everywhere, beneath the ocean, beneath reality, beneath everything we think we understand about the world. And once you see it, once you truly see it, you can never stop trying to map it, never stop trying to understand it, never stop being pulled down into those layers, those depths, those impossible spaces. I hear knocking at my door, but I'm in Montana, miles from the coast, miles from the ocean. There shouldn't be water here, but when I look out my window, I see it. Blue lights, in my yard, in my street, in the sky. That same perfect circle, that same pulsing pattern, calling. And I realize distance doesn't matter, geography doesn't matter. Once you've seen the lights, once you've looked at the spiral, it can find you anywhere. It knows where you are. It knows what you saw. It knows you're still trying to understand. The knocking continues, and underneath the knocking, I hear something else. The sound of water, deep water, ocean water, pressing against my door, seeping under the frame, flooding into my home. I'm drawing faster now, covering every surface, every wall, every paper. The spiral, always the spiral, because if I can just map it correctly, if I can just understand the pattern, if I can just see how the layers connect. The water is up to my ankles now. Cold, salt water, ocean water, impossible water. And in the water, I see them, blue lights rising from the floor, forming that perfect circle around me, pulsing, in sequence, calling. And I understand now, I finally understand. The lights aren't beneath the ocean. The lights aren't in one place. The lights are everywhere, in every depth, in every space, in every layer of reality. Because the spiral isn't a location. The spiral is everything. The ocean, the sky, the land. All of it folding into that infinite descent. All of it part of something vast and old and incomprehensible. I'm drawing the final pattern now. The one that shows how everything connects. How all the spirals link together. How reality itself is just another layer in something. Much deeper, much older, much more infinite. The water is up to my chest. The lights are all around me and at the center. I see it. That opening, that mouth, that door to somewhere else. And it's not beneath the ocean. It's not in any physical location. It's in understanding. It's in seeing. It's in knowing. And now, I know. Now, I see. Now I understand. The spiral is coming, not toward shore, not toward land. It was never moving through space. It's moving through perception, through awareness, through everyone who looks at the lights. Everyone who sees the pattern. Everyone who tries to understand. And when enough people see it, when enough minds break, trying to comprehend it, when enough consciousness folds into those impossible layers, the spiral will be complete, the pattern will be whole, and whatever has been calling through those lights since before time existed, will finally arrive. Not in our ocean, in our minds, in our reality, in everything. I'm underwater now, but I'm breathing, because this isn't water, this is understanding, this is seeing, this is becoming part of the spiral, part of the pattern, part of the infinite descent. And it's beautiful. God help me, it's beautiful. If you're in the Coast Guard, if you're at Station 47, if you see the lights underwater, remember Rule 6. Don't look, don't investigate, don't try to understand, because once you see the spiral, once you see where it really goes, once you understand what's calling through those blue lights, you'll spend the rest of your life drawing patterns, mapping infinity, descending through layers that don't end. You'll become the spiral, and the spiral will become you, and you'll finally understand that the ocean was never the deepest place, that water was never the real depth, that everything we know exists on the surface of something infinitely deeper, infinitely older, infinitely more vast. The lights are everywhere now. I can see them in everything, in the walls, in the sky, in my own reflection. Blue lights, perfect circles, infinite spirals. And I'm not afraid anymore, because I finally understand. I finally see. I finally know. The spiral is everything. The spiral is eternal. The spiral is calling. And I'm going home.